like freezing.
I know, slow motion. Natalie started first, so hi to the Natalie's fans. Mine is in slow motion. Oh my God, what's going on? Well, people, since my life is in a slow motion, I don't know if I should start it again or what should I do. Oh my goodness.
It froze.
It froze.
What happened?
Life, anything can happen.
I know.
So
you gotta be flexible.
let's see what's going on. I'm gonna have to shut my phone off and come back on. But thank you to those tuning in. Tanisha, Williams, Charlene, thank you so much for joining in. I'm pretty sure you have the honor to know Natalie, which is awesome.
Yes.
I had the pleasure to meet her today personally, but we've been friends through social media for like a year, and we follow each other and we push each other. And even though it sounds weird, I have found a community in social media, and that's a topic that I want to address another time. Yes. But it's been definitely a community in social media, and I've met Natalie through that. Yep. I have met other wonderful women that I reach out to. So I think it's been a blessing to meet wonderful women like you and be able to tap into their knowledge. And let's see what Tanisha is saying. Natalie is the best. I totally agree, Natalie, that she is the best. Let's see if I can figure this out after I wrote my description. Oh my goodness. But Natalie, how do you feel about coming here today to a stranger's home, in a way, because like I said, we've met through social media, to just talk about what you do?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, back in the day, like 5 years ago when I started my online business, I was terrified of friending strangers, but legit, like that's what I do every day, and thank God people are like, this girl's like crazy, like people are like, hey, she doesn't look like a weirdo, I'll friend her, and thankfully, like you said, these connections have been amazing because I've met the most incredible, finally we're live.
I'm from my Facebook because for some reason it slowed down. We have Natalie's fans over there that tuned in. To you all, welcome to another Wednesday. Thanks for joining in. Bienvenidos a otro miércoles junto a nosotras. Gracias por acompañarnos. Vamos a conversar acerca de lo que es tener un cerebro más activo, ser más efectivos en las mañanas. So today we're going to talk about how we can be more motivated in the morning, activate our brain, overcome procrastination, and I'm pretty sure anyone can relate to procrastination. Todos nos podemos relacionar con lo que es no darle prioridad a las cosas y dejarlas para último. Así que Natalie está aquí hoy como fundadora y creadora de Our Best Year Ever, founder and creator of Our Best Year Ever. And Natalie's going to share with us 5 things, not 10, 5, that you can do to have an amazing morning and become one of the most productive people in the world.
Yes.
So Natalie, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here today.
So, as I was saying to her fans over there, I met Natalie through social media, which I'm very grateful for. A very driven woman, very passionate about what she does, women development, personal growth, health, and wellness, a whole package, people. So I approached her on social media, and I'm not shy about it. When I see women kicking it, I'm like, I gotta reach out to them and connect.
It's like dating.
So exactly. Dating with friends. I love
dating
it.
with friends,
So Natalie, you're gonna talk about those 5 steps. How does that come about?
So in order for me to get to that point, I have to give you guys a little bit of a backstory.
Yes.
In order for you to understand where I was mentally, that pushed me to start making some shifts in my life. So as you mentioned, I'm an owner of my own business right now, but when I started my routines, I was working full-time as a nurse, and I'm still in the military, an Army officer, and I just had a lot going on. And I had just had 2 babies or 2 kids, and then a 3rd one coming to my life. No twins, no. But I had my toddler, then my newborn in 2014.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah. 2.5 years apart, right? Who does that? And I was overwhelmed. I was like, a lot of people say, oh, motherhood is easy. It's a transition. You'll figure it out. And I was a mess.
No, it's a lot. Really quickly, Sterling says hi. Hi, Sterling. Hi, Gabby. Thanks for tuning in. Annabelle Rondon, who is a wonderful woman, says she's a fan too of yourself. Rosa Aura, gracias por estar ahí también. So, 3 children, una enfermera, también activa en el Army. So all of these make you feel the need, or made you feel the need to change your whole routine.
Yes. I was in my dream career and doing everything that supposedly I was meant to do. And I was empty.
Oh, wow.
I was depressed. And I felt like I was in a very, very dark place. And I think part of that was because I had like no control of my schedule anymore. As of course, you have no sleep. You don't know when the next time your child's gonna nap. So like I had no control of my schedule. And for me, being a woman, like I think I am kind of type A, but I've always been kind of in denial of that.
Okay.
I like to have control of my schedule. I like to have control. I need to know what's next. And I didn't know that anymore.
Okay.
So when I made that shift after my second child, I suffered through postpartum depression. And then again after my third. And my third one was by far the worst. At that point, I was already an online health coach. So I had developed daily habits, but with workouts and nutrition. But after my third baby, I lost control again of my morning routines. And I got into this very dark place. And I still remember it was 4 weeks or 5 weeks postpartum. It was in October, almost going into November. And I was on the couch because I was the only place I could sleep with the baby. That would calm him down. I was literally sitting in Indian style in my couch with the blanket over, literally carrying the baby, and he had been crying for like hours and hours, and I couldn't get a break. And I think it was like 5 in the morning, and I remember just feeling so frustrated. And I remember looking at him, and he wouldn't stop, and I was just like, "What is wrong with you?" And this anger came into me. And for 1 second, this thought, which till this day makes me like tear up, because you would never want to do that to your child. But I had a thought come into my mind, like I wanted to shake him. And
I can relate. Yep, I can relate. It's hard to explain and understand, but yeah, you're not the only mom that have thought that. Believe me.
Yeah, and so it was crazy. And like at 6 a.m, my mom knocks on my door, and I swear I think God knew at that moment I needed a rescue, because I was gonna harm my baby. And as soon as she walked over into the house, I was like, "Here, mommy, take the baby. I need to sleep. I haven't slept. I don't know in how long. It felt like weeks." Yeah. And all I did was I jumped on the couch, covered my face, and I just cried myself to sleep, because I couldn't believe that was where I was at mentally.
Yeah. It happens. It happens, and you don't realize it until it really hits you, and something happens, and you're like, "Oh my God, I gotta snap out of this." But it's really hard to see when you have lack of sleep, when you don't have clarity of where you're going, you don't have control of your schedule, like you said. So you're not alone in that feeling. I've been through it, and it's tough. It's really tough to overcome. But you came out of it.
Yes.
Right? You came out of it, and that's what you're gonna share with us.
Yes.
So what do you have? We need another session of postpartum and depression. Totally agreed, Annabelle. It's on my list of things to discuss, because I've been through it, and I think so many women have, and I think it's important to discuss it. So it's on the charts. Hopefully May will be a month where I would like to address that. So you came out of it. How do you overcome the challenges? And what are those steps that you can share with the audience that can definitely make their routine better for moms, for women that are working, for just people in general? So how do you come about these 5 steps?
So I, at the time, had been watching a lot of training videos with other coaches, because I was still plugged into my online community of coaches, thank God, because they were life-saving for me. And there was this coach that kept saying she had read this book called The Miracle Morning. I was not a morning person.
The Miracle Morning. I am a morning person.
The Miracle Morning. So I knew, I was like, I need to take control of my mornings, and I didn't know where to start. And so I kept hearing The Miracle Morning, The Miracle Morning. I'm like, what is this book? So I purchased it on Amazon. I started reading it, and I'm like, I am not waking up at 5 a.m. I can't do that when I haven't slept all night.
That's me.
And so I was like, you know what? If I can get control of my mornings, I can feel like myself again. So I read the whole book and I started these routines, but I couldn't do it by myself.
No, you can't.
I couldn't do it by myself. So it was about 6 months postpartum when I finally decided, okay, I'm going to commit to this. Because when I read the book, it was like in January. And it wasn't until March when I was like, okay, I need help because I can't do this by myself. So I ended up recruiting, I guess, other women. I'm like, hey, who's crazy enough to wake up at 5 a.m. with me and jump on a call? Because I needed accountability. I needed someone to show up to. I couldn't do it by myself.
Okay.
And so 5 women were like, sure, I'll do that. I need to wake up early to get stuff done. I'm like, okay, awesome. So for 2 weeks straight, we committed to waking up every single morning.
5 a.m, people.
5 in the
People
morning.
call me crazy when I do that. What is the name of the book again? What's the name of the book?
The Miracle Morning.
The Miracle Morning. And usually what I do, just so people know, at the end, any resources that we come up with, I will share. So, ya para que sepan, Natalie acaba de recomendar un libro que se llama El Milagro de las Mañanas. Entonces, lo que yo hago usualmente es que pongo en el área de comentarios recursos que ustedes pueden utilizar después de los live. Así que vamos a estar compartiendo eso, ella darse cuenta de que necesitaba esa ayuda y buscó a 5 mujeres más que se atreverían a levantarse a las 5 de la mañana, hablar por teléfono y desarrollar una rutina que les permitiera pues comenzar unos nuevos hábitos.
Exactly. And so that was the beginning of me taking control of my mornings. And those 2 weeks of consistency, and I didn't have no actual routine those mornings.
No,
I was just like, I just want to wake up.
The first thing is waking up. So
just waking up.
So even if you pick that one goal, technically
you can just, start there, right? And this is my 5 steps, because I'm gonna delve a little bit deeper into the 5 steps, but just to get to those 5 steps, I just wanted to wake up. I wanted to wake up early.
Okay.
And so I had the Miracle Morning is perfect because it helps you on how to prepare the night before, what triggers to create, how to develop daily habits in addition to this that will help you to start getting up earlier.
Okay.
So that's why I can't get into those steps that he puts in that book. So,
okay. Yeah. Really quickly, this is so true. I started to get up at 5 a.m. That was made a huge difference. Yes, a lot of more productive. I totally agree, Annabelle, that the 5 a.m. wake ups, I love them. I really do. My husband looks at me like I'm crazy, but I love them. So you decided to first try waking up earlier. So for her it was 5 in the morning. For me it's actually between 5 and 5:30. For you might be 6 a.m. because you have a later start of your work day. What do we have here? Lisette, thank you. You might have a later start to your day. Some people that own businesses like you might afford to start their day at 10. So it depends, but for both of us, it seems to be like 5 a.m. and for Annabelle as well. So you identify that. Gabby, I will definitely challenge myself to wake up earlier. I am not a morning person.
I feel you, girl.
I know. I love the morning, so it helps. So you started with that. What was the next thing for you to do?
So at that point, once I get control of waking up and making that a habit, then I decide, okay, now I need to be intentional. Okay. What are these mornings for? Why do I need these mornings? How is this going to create momentum in my goals?
Got it.
So I didn't just want to wake up and be like, all right, awesome, let me just work out. Because a lot of people are like, oh, okay, I wake up early to work out, but it's not just that. Workouts are amazing, but there's certain points where you're not motivated or, you
get
discouraged or things happen in life. And so I needed to figure out a routine that will help me stay motivated on all my goals, not just my health goals, but all my goals, and keep me focused and more productive.
Okay, so you identify a routine that you will be able to work on it as a whole, like not only my health, but also my everyday responsibilities.
Exactly.
Okay, so you identify that first, like you said, the goals that you have, and then you build your routine around that.
Yes.
Okay, so that will be step number 1.
So step number 1 is actually figuring out what do you truly want in your life.
Okay.
And why?
That's a tough question.
It is a tough question, but this is something where, like, every time I work with my ladies in my group coaching or my one-on-ones, this is the number 1 thing I sit down and do with them. Because if they can't identify what they truly want in life, what and why they want that, then anything that you develop as habits is not going to have an anchor. I call it an anchor. And if you don't have an anchor, what happens is if a wind blows,
yeah,
you're gonna blow away with anything that happens. You know, sick kids, lost job, or you get hurt, or you get sick, right? There's a million things that can happen in our life. And if you're not anchored, and I call my anchor is my why and my what. You know, what am I working for and why?
So, ¿para qué estoy trabajando y por qué estoy trabajando por eso? So, identificar qué queremos y por qué lo queremos, y entonces esa va a ser nuestra ancla que nos mantendrá enfocados en la dirección que debemos mantener prácticamente.
Exactly. Yes.
So we identify that anchor, that what, and that why. So what comes after that? After that is step number 1.
Yeah, so I have my notes just in case I don't forget anything. After you figure out your why and your what, then you want to identify 3 areas you want to focus on. Because science has, developed all these amazing, studies on, how to increase productivity in human beings, right? And they said that people can't really focus on more than 3 goals at a time.
That's good to know for the multitaskers, including me. So that's good to know. So identifying 3 goals that I want to focus on.
Yes.
And what does that mean for you? What were those 3 things that you first identified, for example?
So the best way to find out what 3 areas to focus on in your life is I'm gonna give you guys a lot of resources. So make sure you take notes and copy these books. One book that I got an opportunity to read last year, it was the High Performance Habits. High Performance Habits.
Okay.
And I didn't bring it today, but it's by Brendon Burchard, and he walks you through a full life assessment.
Wow.
And you want to do a full life assessment. You want to figure out, you want to categorize your life and measure where do you fall, like from 1 to 10, 1 being horrible to 10 being amazing in each of these areas, whether it be your health, your relationships, your career. And in that full assessment, you can determine where are my 3 weakest areas right now? And that should be your focus.
Okay.
It's your 3 weakest areas. It's not what I feel like doing.
Okay.
It's what's my weakest area, right?
Okay.
Because as you start to develop those weak areas, then you get to the big, the ones that feel comfortable for you. Okay. But we always go for the comfortable things first. And we don't grow. We don't develop ourselves. And one of the things that I've learned that has brought me joy, and one of the reasons I got myself out of depression, was feeling like I was growing, feeling like I was developing myself. When I feel stagnant, that's when depression comes in.
And you challenge yourself to figure out what else can I do, what else can I give. And I think I always remind people to challenge themselves and push further and push themselves further, so you can it's like elasticidad. I don't know how to say that word right now in English, but you expand, when you're expandable and you stretch like a rubber band, and you challenge yourself and you grow, and like you said, working those weak areas, trabajar esas áreas que a veces tenemos como debilidad y no irnos por las cosas cómodas, por lo que tenemos como familiaridad, sino identificar esas áreas donde que somos exitosos, pero también en las que tenemos que trabajar para crecer y para retarnos a nosotros mismos y seguir creciendo. So that's definitely a good point. Identifying your 3 weaknesses that you can improve upon and become a more whole person.
Exactly. So that book is High Performance Habits. So best resource, it'll give you an online tool free that you can go and fill out the whole questionnaire, and it'll email you your response and walk you through exactly not only what your weaknesses are, but what to do to improve those areas too. So excellent. It's a great resource.
So now we have the what and why. We have identified 3 areas that we have to work on. What will be your 3rd suggestion or your 3rd tip? And let me see what Annabelle said. We're calling for postpartum life now. Okay, fine. I'll do that one soon. Women's Month. To celebrate Women's Month. I promise. I'll do it then. So what will be step number 3?
So now that you've developed what and your why and your 3 areas you want to improve it, now is when you develop the daily habits, the 5 daily habits, right? Now I can figure out, what am I going to do in my mornings? Because now I have intention, now I have purpose. And I say that because, you know, so many times we want to copy other people's daily habits and we think that's going to work for us, and it's not. And unless we know what our goals are, why they're our goals, we're going to just keep copying everyone else and never get to where we need to get to. Right? And one of my goals in an organization is to help each woman understand what her divine purpose is on earth.
Exactly. And I think that you touched on a great point, and I always say that what works for you may not work for me. What works for me may not work for some people that are watching right now, and you get to know that. You get to know what works for Evelyn, what works for Natalie, what works for you. So it's identifying and being understanding that we are, you know, we are different. We are similar but different at the same time, and that's the gift of being different, that we bring different things to the table. And I keep saying different, that's funny. Bring so many different things to the unique things to the table, and we also function differently. So what works for everyone, it is definitely not the same.
Exactly.
So identifying, like you said, your divine gift,
purpose and your gifts. Yes, and that's where the true joy comes in.
Okay.
So the 5 daily habits you have to develop. So you got your goals. Now you have to figure out, okay, what are my daily habits I have to develop to accomplish that?
Got it.
So for me personally, I'll give you an example first for my routines. You know, my 5 is I wake up and pray, I read, meditate, work out, and then I plan my day.
Wow.
So those are my 5. And it's a formula that it took me a while to develop. So you have to be patient.
Okay.
This is for me. It took me a year of trial and error with formula, like different techniques. Okay, let me not meditate this week or for a month, and let me do prayer, and let me do this. And so I had to trial and error my 5 daily habits. So that's why I said it's very personal, but you have to be willing to be patient, persevere, and say, okay, that didn't work for me. Let me try another routine.
Okay.
But the idea is you have to find your 5 daily habits that works for you.
Okay, so you definitely need to like you said, identify them and invest the time in getting to know what works. Exactly. So identificar, ya que usted ha definido sus metas, su visión, lo que quiere, identificar qué 5 hábitos le van a ayudar a cumplir esas metas y esas cosas que quiere mejorar. Y como dijiste, tú estar dispuesto a invertir el tiempo de tratar qué me funciona y qué no me funciona. Como dijiste, tal vez medito esta semana, veo cómo me va cuando primero hago ejercicio la semana siguiente. So it's changing your routine until you can fine tune. It's like when you're finding tune.
Exactly.
It's like, remember like old school radios, and you have to like find where the right radio station was. The same with ourselves, like finding tune with what really sticks to us and makes us successful and doesn't make us feel frustrated. And put in the work and commitment. I totally agree, Annabelle. You need the commitment. Christy Garcia, I'm loving this. Thank you. You're very welcome. Dione, Lucas, she's gonna write those down. Definitely we're gonna put those resources there. Yes. So like you said, finding what 5 habits work for yourself, for you. Yes. So far I only have 3. I drink my water. I have to brush my teeth as soon as I get up, people. It definitely brings me comfort. And meditating. I'm using that a lot. And as I drink my water, it sounds weird, I do have a ritual that I say that this water gives me the energy and takes away any negative thoughts. Right now, I'm working in not having negative thoughts because I'm struggling with that. I think it's part of the postpartum. It's part of adjusting my hormones, so negative thoughts can come pretty quickly. So I'm drinking my water, and as I drink it, I am being intentional and verbalizing. And again, don't look at me weird. Verbalizing, you're taking away my negative thoughts. I'm a person of abundance, and I'm positive, and today I want to make sure that I can bring that to the world as well. So I do kind of set an intention. So I have 3 so far. I need 2 more. Exactly. So I'm probably gonna consult on on those. So now we have that's number 4, right? That's when we come to finding out our habits. What will be number 5?
So number 5 is going back to we wanted to talk about activating our brain.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why, out of my 5 daily habits, you want to have one of those that activates your brain, and that's why I work out and meditate. Those are my 2 to activate my brain. Well, the 4th step that will also activate your brain, and I preach this now, and I wasn't a person that liked to read, but my 4th habit is books. Reading. And it's not just reading any books, okay? Because at first, when I started to do this habit, I just picked up any motivational book. And that's great at first, but if it's not very specific to what you're working towards, then it just kind of ends up being like a novela, right? When you watch a novela and it feels good, but you're like, I haven't changed. I haven't done anything to change me. So for me, the 4th habit was finding the books related to, again, step 1 and 2. Which is, what am I working towards, and why am I working to that, and my 3 areas I'm working on. So for example, this year, in the last 12 to 14 months, I've been working on 3 areas. I've been working on my finances, I've been working on leadership for my business, improving my leadership, and my spirituality. Okay, wow. And so 3 books that I am currently reading for those.
Gabby, hi. Yeah, it's me, Christian. Hi, Christian. Thanks for tuning in, my love. Yeah, learn all these leadership skills so you can be more fabulous and more fantastic. So we have books here.
Yes. So my first area that I've wanted to improve on my finances, right? And I'm giving you guys examples so you can start thinking about it yourself. So in 2017, I started to work on our finances, and I did a full financial planning class.
Oh, wow.
On top of that, I decided, okay, what books can I start reading to develop my mind, and not only that, but educate myself. I believe in developing your own curriculum. You know, I graduated college a long time ago, but
wow.
I have the opportunity now to really personalize my education now.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
And I believe that we should all be developing our own curriculum. And if we are, we're always learning, we're always growing.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's
so
a great
every
habit.
single year, or essentially every 3 months, I look at my books, and that's my curriculum. Like, okay, I'm developing these 3 areas. And that's where I dig deep in books, podcasts, in YouTube videos, only in these 3 areas.
Wow. And it allows you to narrow things down, because sometimes we can go on a tangent. Yes. We want to grow so much. And as women, we're super ambitious. Las mujeres somos demasiado ambiciosas y queremos agarrar todo. Y queremos ser perfecta al mismo tiempo. Y que queremos desarrollar 10,000 habilidades. Cuando uno es solamente un ser humano, and there's only so much you can develop. So, me encanta, como dices, de decidir esas 3 áreas en las que voy a educarme. So, choosing those 3 areas where I want to educate myself. I think as women, we want to do it all. We want to learn it all. We want to be perfect. We want to be excelling in every area. But like you said, if we pick 3 areas that we can be realistic about, and like you said, I like that every 3 months, where you give yourself some time to learn them, apply them, and say, move to the next step. Yes. Diona, I am getting so motivated. I'm over this part of this depression, and this is the time to get back to now. Yes. Yay! That's what we want to hear. Yes, thank you. That's so awesome. Thanks for sharing. That's awesome. What is those books?
So for me personally, for my financial, I love Dave Ramsey.
Oh.
And I highly recommend his The Total Money Makeover. It honestly changed completely my mindset around money, how to manage my money, how to control my money, and not only make money, but how to keep it and grow it. So, you know, that's a book tip. So finances is an area that's weak for you. I highly recommend that book.
Okay, señores, I promise that I'm going to put this on the list of resources.
Yes, and he has an amazing course called Financial Peace University as well, which I highly recommend if somebody wants to delve even deeper into a 12-week course that they meet every single week. Usually it's at a church. I highly recommend. This is an area where you really want to delve deeper into, which I did last year. I went all in. Because I was like, I'm taking control of this area of my life. Because
and wealth makes such a difference. Y no es que uno sea ambicioso, not that you're being ambitious, but it's realizing that, smart girl, I like you. I gotta have a chat with you again, Natalie. Oh, wepa, I love it. But you know, when you have the financial freedom, I don't think it's about being ambitious. It's that you can make choices not based on pressure. Money is a very tricky area because when you're not happy, Sometimes the only thing that you feel control of is when you go shop, when you go spend, even when you don't have it, because you might feel like, oh, this is the only thing that I can do.
Right.
But you don't realize that you're digging deeper into debt or not utilizing your money wisely. So it's a very fine line, because sometimes when you lack control, you can either become, I eat too much, I shop too much, or I shut down.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great point, and I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yes.
And I'm promising that I'm gonna write it, like I
Yes.
said. What is our other book?
So my second one, my second area that I'm looking to grow in the next year is leadership. And so I love John C. Maxwell. All his books are amazing.
I'm reading one of him right now.
This one right now I'm reading is 5 Levels of Leadership, which is absolutely amazing because it really delves deeper into the positional leader, which is like the manager and the bosses, and growing from that platform, because that's level 1, and level 5 is thinking about people in service, and that's where I want to get to.
Yes.
Is people in service, and so I think all of us, you know, and I swear, if you're a mom, you should be developing leadership skills, because we all need to learn.
And you want to pass it along. I think we have a huge responsibility with our generation that we are creating, our kids, to empower them, to teach them leadership from when they're little. And you talk to your child like they're adults and they're smart. And I'm not saying adults like things that are out of place, but empowering them from little and talking to them like, you know what, you're gonna be someone successful and mindful and caring, and we can pass that along. So I agree with you that you need to feed that leadership mind.
Yes, exactly. So, and I wasn't feeding that in the beginning of my business. It was all about numbers. It was all about
how many clients,
accolades, and titles, and I wasn't progressing. And I learned it the hard way, and I realized, wow, Natalie, you need to develop yourself as a leader. And that's when it clicked, and that's when everything started to shift in my business.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So if you are a business owner, I highly recommend you dig deeper into that aspect of leadership, because it'll make a big difference in your
señores, aquí está John Maxwell, 5 Levels of Leadership. Don't worry if you can take notes now.
Yes.
What's our last book?
So the last area that I've been developing, and I'm always developing, is my spirituality, my faith. It's a huge piece of my life. And you know, you don't have to be religious. I always tell ladies, but I share my faith because it's one of the things that has saved my life as well, prayer. And so I'm always reading some type of scriptures, whether it be the Bible. This is a Book of Mormon that I also read, which is scriptural, spiritual. And so for me, any type of scriptures, and if you're not religious, some type of spiritual book, to delve deeper into your soul. You know, it's soul, and this past week I was talking about soul work. You know, so many of us are so involved in hard work. We need to make that transition from hard work to soul work and working within ourselves.
I totally agree with you. It was funny because earlier somebody was visiting and I was talking to her like, oh, what church do you go? Because, you know, I'm trying to develop that part of me. And she's like, you know, I don't go to church. I just read. She gave me the name of it. I'll post it later. And she was like, you know, I just read these daily morning prayers, and my husband and I discuss it, and it's a way for us to connect, and it also brings me back to my inner self, and it gives me the strength to deal with the everyday things. So having that spiritual connection, like you said, without a denomination, you don't have to be a denomination, but working with your internal self, and knowing that there's something maybe bigger than us that can give us the strength and the power.
Exactly. So that's the fourth one, right? I think we got to the fourth one and the last one, right?
Yes.
So the last piece that I believe makes a huge impact, and I kind of mentioned a little bit of this earlier, in our 5 daily habits, is finding accountability. Finding accountability. You know, we can't do anything in this world by ourselves. And as much as we think as women that we're all knowing and all powerful,
Wonder Woman,
right? I learned it the hard way, you know, with 3 kids, a newborn, and trying to do it all by myself. I was constantly calling my mom, right? Yes. I was constantly calling my friends. And, but when I talk about accountability here, when it comes to your goals and your vision for your life, you got to get a little bit more serious. And what I mean by that is you got to find people that are not going to let you slack off. And friends and family tend to let you slack off.
they give you some wiggle room to work with.
Exactly. And so that's why I got a coach for myself. That's why in 2016, when I started my morning routines, I invited 5 girls that would commit to waking up at 5 in the morning. So there's power in accountability.
Yes.
And if you can find like-minded people that have similar goals, or they don't have to be exactly the same goals, but they just want to work together towards
and
goals.
They're driven and committed, and they push each other. Annabelle Latina Magic, yes. Annabelle Latina Magic, that's a wonderful project that Annabelle is working on, that she will be delighted to have you to be part of. So definitely reach out to her, Annabelle, and I'll try to connect you both in regards to that. But like you said, that accountability, having someone that, even though it's not the same goals, they can push each other. Because sometimes sometimes you get down. Sometimes you fall off. Sometimes you're like, I don't want to wake up 5 in the morning today. But because somebody's waking up 5 in the morning,
they're
you
waiting
cannot
for you.
let down. And they're waiting for you. So you're like, okay, I know Natalie's going to wake up and call me. So I might as well just wake up.
Yep.
So like you said, that accountability is key. Who do you identify as your accountability team?
Honestly, I have gone through so many accountability partners, I call them, and many have quit on me. I'm not gonna lie. It has not been easy finding the people to push me or challenge me. But I essentially dated. I looked for people
accountability partners.
I got accountability partner dating. I looked at people on social media and I said, oh, she looks driven, or I like how motivated she is.
I haven't gotten that call, so I guess I'm not in the list yet. I'm joking.
And so I kind of, started with one, and then that fell off, and then I would go on by myself for a little bit until I was like, okay, I really need somebody again in my life. And then I would just kind of search, and sometimes people would reach out to me.
Awesome.
And, I would ask them, why are you reaching out to me, and what are you trying to work towards? Because I want to know, if somebody comes to me, I want to know, what are you super driven for as well, so I can know I can push you. Yes. And the reason why accountability works so well is because not only are you staying accountable to somebody else, but now you are encouraging that other person, hey, what's your goal? All right, let me push you. Right? They're not just pushing you
one way. It's a two-way. It's a two-way street.
And let me tell you guys, you may think it doesn't work, but you having to show up for somebody else will make you more consistent than you showing up for yourself.
Yes, totally agree with you.
And it's one of the reasons why, honestly, I became a coach, because I was a quitter. I was a chronic quitter, yo-yo person that constantly quit on my health, constantly quit on my goals. And when I became a coach, I was like, all right, people are waiting for me now.
And you gotta walk the walk and talk the talk. Yeah. Yesterday I was gonna do something, and my son was crying, and I know I needed to go, but again, I was like, I can't walk out of this house if I don't know that my kids are okay. I cannot walk out into the world and want to be the best version of myself for the world if I'm not being the best version of myself at home. And what I mean by that is that when you became a coach, you knew that you needed to live by those words. You needed to live by that commitment. You needed to live by those habits so you can be what you preach. Because it's very powerful when you live by what you preach, and you're taking on the responsibility of supporting people and supporting their goals. So you have to be as truthful to those commitments and to those goals, and again, it's people's life, and I take that very serious, and I know that as a coach you do as well. So it totally makes sense when you say, I have to be the best version of myself for these people.
Exactly. And I mean, some people are scared of that. They're scared of accountability because they feel like it's pressure. They're like, I don't want to be accountable to anybody. But let me tell you that the only way you're going to be able to grow and achieve those big, scary goals that you want to achieve is you have to get uncomfortable. You have to be willing to be challenged and get out of your comfort zone. And one of the best ways to get out of your comfort zone is by showing up for someone else and asking someone else to show up for you too, and going vice versa. And And sometimes you're going to have those uncomfortable conversations where I've even had to like, hey, I haven't received a call from you in 2 weeks. I need to figure out where you're at. Are you committed to this or what?
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
And it's hard. It's hard to have those conversations, but it's worth it.
I totally agree. Let's see what I say. Consistency, it's hard when you have a lot going on aside from accountability. What helps you, what helps you stay consistent? So what helps you with consistency, Natalie?
So it's each of these pieces. I think the number one thing though is going back to step one, which is figuring out what I want in my life and why. When I figured out that it wasn't just me, I wanted to change my health and lose weight. It was about me impacting my children's lives and that difference I was going to make in their lives and ensure that they can impact generations to come. Like I thought of the biggest picture possible. I literally thought of the eternities. Like, you know, is my family going to be together for eternity because I did the work I needed to do here?
Wow.
And so I thought about the biggest picture, and people are like, that's exaggerating, Natalie. But I needed to do that because, again, that's my anchor. And so I almost lost my family. I almost lost my family to divorce. I almost lost my family because of debt. I almost lost my family because of depression and postpartum depression and anxiety. And to get to almost rock bottom, it teaches you to fight harder than ever. And I forgot to mention this in the beginning, but one of the number one things you need in order to do any of these steps, like none of these steps matter unless you are absolutely hungry for more. Mm-hmm. And Les Brown says that. I love Les Brown. He's one of like a motivational coach. And he said, you have to be hungry. And I've seen a difference between women that are consistent and motivated versus the ones that are not. It's usually the ones that are motivated and consistent are the ones that either hit rock bottom and they know what that felt like and they never want to feel that ever again, or the ones that are super hungry for a change in their life. Mm-hmm. And their back has been put to the corner a lot of times. And those are the ones usually are the ones that are fighting the hardest. And my back was put to the corner. And so that's why you see me here fighting so hard. And I still have days that are very dark and difficult to get through, but it's one of the reasons why I'm still fighting today, why I'm still consistent, because I think God reminds me, and he gives me these reminders like, hey, Natalie, you're not there yet. Mm-hmm. You're not there yet. And so my husband will make a comment that gets me very upset and I take offense to it, but it's almost like, you're not there yet, Natalie, so you need to fight harder. And so those little like moments of darkness that come into my life, I'm grateful for them because they remind me to put me in place again. Yeah. Like, hey, you're not there yet. You need to keep fighting. Don't get comfortable.
Yes.
You know, and that's the thing is comfort is our enemy.
And going back to consistency, one thing that I think it's great, like you said, those dark moments, but the relief when you succeed, and when you're accomplishing and when you're seeing a better version of yourself, that feeds you. At least it feeds me. And when I'm trying to get off track, I go back to how do I feel when I'm being consistent, and how do I feel when I'm not being consistent. And then I don't like feeling the dark moments, the dark space, the darkness, the sadness, the inability to stay consistent in my feelings. Yes. And when I remember the dark and the light, I'm like, oh, I like the Evelyn on the light, right? Right. And I don't like that Evelyn on the dark. Yes. And literally, that's the motivation. That's like, motivation. I'm like, okay, wait a second, you can't. Like, it impacts your marriage. It impacts your kids. It impacts your how great you do at your job. How can I do this life? Like, it impacts so many things that when I think about the outcomes when I decide to be consistent versus the outcomes when I decide not to be consistent, I'm like, I want more of this. So wanting more of that happiness, wanting more of a better version of yourself can also help you with that consistency. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because it's true. On the days when I don't wake up early and I sleep in and I'm like, you know what? I don't need to wake up early today. And then everything is just
falling apart and the kids are yelling and I'm cranky.
Yes.
And everything is just like, I hate this day. And then I look back to the morning, I'm like, oh,
duh.
I didn't wake up earlier like I normally do. And then the next day I'm like, I am not going through that hell again. I'm waking up at 5 in the morning.
Exactly, I totally agree. One early, Dione says, you're so right, I am not rock bottom and I'm gonna fight. Yes, you don't have to go rock bottom. You can get up and do it. Sterling, when is next Natalie workshop best year class? When is your next workshop?
Yeah.
You have 2 news to announce. First, announce what's coming up next week for those asking.
Yeah, so next week I have my grand opening of my office. March 6th in Methuen, Massachusetts. I'm doing my grand opening. I've been doing all of my business online and now I'm finally opening an office in the local area to kind of connect more with women one-on-one, face-to-face, because that's what we're missing sometimes too. So that's next Wednesday from 5:30 to 7 p.m. in Methuen.
And I'll put that on my comments so you can stop by and say hi.
Yeah, I'll give you the link for them to RSVP. It's free tickets. Come, I'm doing raffles and giveaways, and then we'll talk a little bit more about our mission and what our purpose is this year. And then for our next event, we just finished our Women's Weekend Retreat this past weekend. And I'm doing biannual events. Last year I did all monthly events. So you may have seen that and you're probably thinking like, when is my next monthly event? It's not gonna be monthly. My next biannual event is gonna be in the fall. I don't have the exact date yet, quite yet. We're kind of in the process of planning that now, but it's going to be a luxurious women's weekend retreat.
Oh, señora, luxurious. I hope I get the invite, of course.
So it's going to be, workshops, trainings, an overnight, catered.
I love that.
There's going to be pampering and time to reflect and really delve deeper into those goals. And you kind of we're going to do this kind of activity, but a little bit deeper, so you can really understand why you're here and what you really need to do to get there. So I'm super excited for it.
Oh my God, Natalie, thank you so much for all this information. We are all going, LOL, yes, Annabelle. We need it. We need a mommy intervention. We need to go away, leave the kids behind. Sterling says me too. Natalie, thank you so much for all the information. You get a hug. I give all my guests a hug. I'm a hugger. Thank you for all the information. To you all, I'm in for the fall. See, Manita, super. She's coming from New Jersey. That will be awesome. We can do it together. Thank you again to you all. Thank you so much for joining in. I will write down all the resources in the comment area for the video. A todos ustedes, muchísimas gracias. Gracias por el apoyo. Les prometo que voy a estar escribiendo todos los recursos en mi área de comentarios del video. A ti, Natalie, muchísimas gracias por venir acá. A todos ustedes, el próximo marzo 6 va a estar ahí en Methuen, para los que están en el área del Merrimack Valley, del Valle del Merrimack. También vamos a poner la website para que se mantengan informados. I want to go and I have no idea how I found you, but thanks. I will put it on the messages, Tiani. I promise you. So, gracias como siempre. Les invito a que me acompañen el próximo miércoles. Vamos a celebrar lo que es el mes de la mujer, el mes internacional de la mujer, así que vamos a tener mujeres interesantísimas compartiendo con nosotros y también vamos a hablar de lo que es ser mujer y el encanto de ser mujer. Thank you so much. This month is, next week is March, so we're going to be celebrating International Women's Day. All the month of March will be dedicated to women. We're going to have wonderful guests talking about their experiences as women and how they've been able to change the world that they're around. So make sure you tune in. And to you all, have a wonderful night, have a wonderful rest of the week, and a fantastic weekend. So we will see you later. Bye.